I've got, Stephen, a question, a smart question from a smart viewer. Let me get your take, and I've also got a 2's10 spread here, a chart that viewers can access on the Bloomberg by typing GTV Go. The viewer asks, what are your thoughts on the U.S. yield curve given the increased issuance? This is something that we've talked about. A decline in demand from foreign investors, given hedging costs and the Fed unwinding the balance sheet. Are you still bullish on the U.S. 10-year?
Well, that's another typical question. So I think the curve keeps flattening. I mean, if the Fed was to signal a more aggressive short-term tightening path because of the CPI data, say, for example, say that inflation data is a surprise on the upside and market prices more hikes, then the curve will flatten because it'll be the 2s and the 5s that lead the move. The 10-year and the 30-year are priced off of the long forwards, which sit somewhere above the Fed's medium-term to long-term dots. So to me, the curve flattens. Now, the question was pointing to supply issues, right? The budget deficit, the Fed's unwind, overseas holders. If you add those three up, you think you better find someone else to buy the bonds because you've just got three different categories that are all selling. What you're seeing at the moment is a massive crowding in. It's the domestic asset managers, it's the domestic banks and the pension funds who are taking the paper. There's plenty of buyers for short-dated bills close to 2%. We haven't seen 2% for 10 years. Right, 2% in risk-free. When your bank, your current account, is paying, I think some of those big banks are paying 5 or 6 basis points, i.e. nothing. So I know that we're all a bit lazy and very slow to move our money around. We're all terrible at this. But the fact is it's happening. It's happening slowly. So there's no lack of buyers. Those three categories that were listed, I get it all the time. Frankly, the Fed's balance sheet is not a big problem because actually it's creating this short-dated paper that everyone's buying.